letters in the sand. Few Staten Islanders realize that this ever-popular standard was written back in 1931 by then Pleasant Plains residents Nick and Charles Kenny, perhaps on this very beach. Countless other songs have been published that were penned by Islanders and off-Islanders alike, all inspired by names and places familiar to generations of residents. Hello, I'm Fred Holman, and I'd like to invite you to join me on a visit with the noted musician, teacher, and director of the Music of Olde Staten Island concert series, Ed Brown.
The composer of that piece, Max Marechek, is one of many throughout the history of Staten Island who composed and lived here. Along with his many musical accomplishments, he was responsible in the mid-1800s for first bringing Italian opera to New York City. During this time, he lived with his family in a huge mansion on the hill overlooking Pleasant Plains. For these reasons, Max Marechek has earned a place of distinction in our presentations of the music of Olde Staten Island. The Music of Olde Staten Island is a project Anne Trinita Sohm and I conceived of to collect, research, and perform music written about Staten Island or composed by island residents. Now in its fourth year, the program is funded by a grant from the Staten Island Council on the Arts. As sponsoring organization, we have the Staten Island Institute of Arts and Sciences. The songs are performed in period clothing by a small cast of talented singers, with myself providing guitar accompaniment and historic background throughout. The repertory includes a wide variety of styles: classical and semi-classical, popular, jazz, radio commercials, comic, Boy Scout, and school songs, as well as show tunes. Let's have a look at some compositions we have included in our past and present productions. In this year's program, for instance, we recreate the one-time school songs of the borough's oldest private and public highs, Staten Island Academy and Curtis. These songs came from a time when student activities, at least those included in the 1913 Curtis yearbook, were a large ukulele club and women's rifle team. We contrast these with the Rubson and Horman beer song, which was a radio jingle for the very popular beer that was brewed in Stapleton. Written by another Pleasant Plains resident, Clarence Gaskill, it was originally performed by Ramona and the Tune Twisters and played throughout the 1940s. Among this year's new acquisitions is He's a Latin from Staten Island, written in 1940 by Irving Taylor and Vic Mizzy. This comical rumba song was first performed by Charlie Barnett and his orchestra at Cromwell Center during the 1940s. It tells of a Latin named Ricardo Manuelo Gomez, who plays guitar on the Staten Island ferry, but only for cash. On the inspiration of the song, composer Vic Mizzy explains in a letter he wrote me, and I quote, "I was a sailor in the U.S. Navy stationed in Staten Island, and taking the ferry every day to report for duty still gives me sleepless nights." A hit song in 1918 was performed by an enormously popular actress, St. George resident Mabel Normand, Queen of the Silver Screen. The song, Mickey, written by Harry Williams and Neil Moray, was to become so associated with Mabel as to become her theme song. Island residents, particularly those living in St. George, remember Mabel and her family, and the house that they lived in. To this day, island residents refer to that house as the Mabel Normand House. The Music of Olde Staten Island features many, many more songs and composers. Each year our repertory is revised and newly researched material added. We continuously comb antique stores, historic archives, and private collections to uncover new finds. And as more and more people become aware of the program, we are occasionally fortunate enough to be presented with rare gems that islanders have discovered hidden in their attics or forgotten collections of memorabilia. We hope to continue presenting the music of Old Staten Island because, besides being an enjoyable and nostalgic entertainment, it is indeed Staten Island's history through music.